Hello and welcome in, you crazy kids. It's Tuesday. We're live. So this must be the Tuesday live chat. That's weird to say, but it is true for probably the foreseeable future. Talked about this a little bit on Monday. We can talk about it more in depth, but changes with the CBS Sports schedule and the way that my relationship with those podcasts work, where this is probably the new time for a while. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time for the live chat. We'll make the most of it. We'll go a little bit early. Get your questions, your concerns, your comments in right now. There is an event in Palm Beach Gardens. That's the Cognizant, formerly the Honda Classic. There is an event in South Africa. This starts the DP World Tour's 2-week swing in South Africa. There's an event in New Zealand, Kiwi, and there's an event in Argentina. We've got the whole globe covered for this week, wherever you want to go. I'm happy to go there with you. Let's get this thing started the same way we start all of these. That reminds me of Pinky and the Brain. Let's do what we do every night. Pinky, try to take over the world. Yeah. Here is the weather for Palm Beach Gardens, and it looks very Floridian. Very good here. So here's Thursday, AM showers, but hardly accumulation, 0.04 inches. Surprised this even made it onto the forecast. Wind all day Thursday, no more than 8 miles an hour. The wind all day Friday, no more than 9 miles an hour. It does tick up from 6 to 9 miles an hour in the afternoon, as it always does. I mean, this is Florida golf. This is clean. I bet you we get like a random shower at some point that's not on the forecast, and it lasts 4 minutes and then it goes away. So yeah, this is typical Florida golf. There is not a weather wave right now based on this information. So very, very clean. Good to see. The ownership for one and done for this week, a little bit surprising. Maybe it shouldn't be, but it is a little bit surprising. Shane Lowry currently leading the way, 26% of all selections in one and done. Daniel Berger is 16. Sepp Straka is 14. Russell Henley is 10. And then a gap. Minwoo Lee and Danny McCarthy, 5.5. Cam Young, Billy Horschel, Sung J M, and Taylor Pendrith from 4 down to 2. So the big one, Lowry, tier of his own. Berger and Straka kind of in that second tier. Russell by himself. Everybody else down below that. We will talk about one and done, I'm sure, quite a bit. I've got the grid locked and loaded here. This is the Pool Genius data. This is the tool that I consult on and continue to consult on. All that fun stuff. Also, the links for everything that you are going to need are in the description. That includes the listener league for this week on Splash, which is already more than 50% full. We filled this 25 hours early last week. Very good on you guys. They made it bigger. It is fully guaranteed at $12,000. Would love to fill it 24 hours early again. That would be very great. But filling it in general would be good so that we can just continue to go back to them and say, more money, more money. Or as, no, I wasn't thinking more money, more problems. I was thinking of Saperstein, the daughter's name, who goes, money, please. That is basically what I do to Splash. There is also, we're only 2 weeks away from the Players, which is kind of crazy. There is a 3 and done. We did this last year, if you remember. $100,000 guaranteed. You pick 3 players for the 4 major championships and the Players Championship, so 15 players in total. Somebody's going to win $12,000. Somebody's going to win 10. Somebody's going to win 8. Somebody's going to win 6. And then each tournament is its own segment. So if you go 0 for 12, but you have the best 3 guys for the Masters, you win $2,800. So that is there as well, fully guaranteed. I'm sure that will fill quickly, but we're still a couple weeks out, so we're about 10% right now. All right, let's get into it. Matt kicks us off here and says, hey, Rick, what do we think about Mackenzie Hughes this week? All right, everything else that you see is probably from my website, rickrungood.com, which is what you're looking at right now. No, I don't want to do that. I was going to get off to a bad start. Mackenzie Hughes misspelled his name, and the search still figured it out. I imagine this goes back to his history here because he, nearly beat Sungjae, or at least gave Sungjae a run on Sunday in 2020. He made the cut 2 years after that. Hasn't played here since 2022. Nothing spectacular to show of outside of that runner-up finish in 2020. I have to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Hopefully you guys can still see that. I believe that you can. This isn't great. I don't like that he is not putting it very well, though I guess I could argue that getting back onto Florida Bermuda is probably going to be a pretty good spot for him. This isn't great. He's never really going to drive it well. The putter has been a little bit disappointing since the start of 2025. And the approach play is always kind of hit or miss. No, I'm not super excited about this. There's not a lot of reason to get me interested in Mackenzie Hughes. Would you go Berger or Lowry for your captain in PGA fantasy golf? I mean, listen, they're probably like the two best players in the field. I don't think you could go wrong. I will probably captain Berger, though what you could conceivably do is just look at the ownership, see who's going to be lower owned and captain that guy is probably the better way to do it. But Berger's kind of the guy for this week, I think. I'm sure we'll talk ad nauseum about him, so I won't dive into him or Lowry. But we're gonna talk about these guys a lot because I see this question or some variation of this question popping up all the time, and it says thinking about using Berger or Straka in one and done. So this is custom to me. This is my grid. This knows who I've selected, who I haven't selected. For example, I have already used Shane Lowry in this entry, which is why Shane Lowry is not an option for me. So Seb Straka, Denny McCarthy, Daniel Berger, I believe are the big three. The Pool Genius tool likes Sep Straka more often, or excuse me, likes him more for this week. I think that there are fewer places to play Sep Straka in the future. The only place that you are going to conceivably use him at that he has good history would be like John Deere again, something like that. Berger is a little bit better at, you could play him at Deer Run, you could play him at Colonial, you could play him here, you could play him at Harbor Town if he gets in, you could play him at Travelers if he gets in, you could play him at TPC Southwind if he gets in. There's other caveats there. Those are probably going to be better fields, but there are other places that you could play Berger. So I think if this is just 1 week right now, thinking about future value, Sep Straka is probably pretty good, but very, very close. You could use either one of them. Hey, Rick, loving the insights lately. Thank you. Do we think this is a good Brian Harman week and we worry about Lowry's putting? Okay. Let's do Lowry real quick because I already had him locked and loaded here. We'll stay at the top of the board. Then I'll get you to Brian Harman. So here's Lowry's profile that I'm going to pull up this week. The concern that Checkmate has is about his putting. Loses 1.1 strokes putting on Poana. So both of these losses are Torrey. So this says only has putted well on Poana. I think you mean he's only putted poorly. And not always, right? Because Pebble Beach, he putted well. No, I guess long story short, no, I'm not. I'm not worried about that at all. Let's look at his history here. Picked up 3.2 strokes putting last year. He lost a stroke putting in 2023, still finished T5. And then he finished, when he finished runner-up in 2022, he picked up 4 strokes putting. So no, to answer that question, I am not concerned about Shane Lowry's putting. Let's look at Brian Harman, who has been good, not great, certainly not, one of the top 20 players in the world, but T25 in Phoenix, T17 at the Genesis. The metrics are a little bit concerning because they're all over the place. So 1 week ago, he lost 2.5 strokes off the tee. 2 weeks ago, he lost 1.4 on approach. 3 weeks ago, he lost around the green and with the putter, right? Like it's just something different every week. I don't really like this. He's putting up okay results, but it would have to be something pretty drastic for me to be interested in playing a significant bit of Brian Harman. His results here are not very good. He's played here a ton. He has 0 top 10s. He has 1 T11, 1 T12. None of them are within like the last 7 years. Is Lowry's top 10 at even a trap line? Why are the books giving you plus 100 when he's finished top 5 3 years in a row? I guess you're saying he should be like minus 120, or like you're saying that line should be shorter. I don't know. I don't think it's a trap. Had to here to pour one out for one of my favorite golf podcasts, but where you go, Rick, I go. Thank you, Cody. Yeah. So just very, very quickly, I talked about this on Monday. CBS Sports retired our First Cut podcast, moved it underneath Sportsline. It is now called the Early Wedge, and it is mostly focused. It's all focused on betting and DFS, which quite honestly for me is very good. That's the world that I live in, right? And now CBS Sports is giving it a platform 5 times as frequently as they were previously. However, I love what the First Cut was and chatting with those guys and having the round by round recaps and being able to talk about a lot of different things was a blast. So yeah, we had a good run, 1,500 episodes. but a new era has begun. Do you have any thoughts as to whether certain days have traditionally easier pin positions? Robert goes on to say easier pins would seem to suit calmer conditions, tough pins perhaps suiting par golf in tougher conditions. I would have to go pull the pin locations for historically here. I don't have that handy. I would have to go through the ShotLink database to grab that. Hey, Rick, for one and done based on Lowry, Henley, Straka, Mitchell, and Berger, who do you think is the safest play? Who is the value play? And lastly, might you be saving any of these guys? So there's probably not a scenario in which I play Keith Mitchell in one and done this year. I just think that he's probably going to end up being the odd man out a lot. He's never going to be the favorite. I think the safest is probably Straka, right? I mean, I can pull up his profile here. I like both these guys. They actually both play a similar game. They both play a very well-rounded game, which plays well in Florida. It is a bogey avoidance type of game, which is usually very good when there's a lot of water out there. I mean, Sepp's been great, right? I mean, go look at, since how far back do we have to go? Basically all of 2024 and into 2025, he's played very consistent golf. His tee to green numbers are very good. He got beat up at Torrey Pines. Who doesn't? Right. I'm not super worried about that. And of course, he's got the good run at this golf course. So I think Sepp is probably a little bit safer, but I think those guys are very, very close. Rick, can we do a deep dive on Isaiah Salinda? He had an awesome last round and Mexico's one putt from being in the playoff and potentially cashing at plus 450. 450 to 1, maybe, is what we're getting at there. Is probably what I imagine Isaiah Salinda's odds were. Is he just too expensive versus a savvy vet? No. So, I might be in the minority here, but I much prefer these young, volatile guys who have the ability to go ham and cheese as opposed to Matt Kuchar, who is like a guaranteed T27 every single week. I would rather have the upside. He gets rave reviews out of Las Vegas. I've never seen him play. I don't know a lot about his game, but I know he gets rave reviews. I think he plays out of TPC somewhere, and I've heard guys talk a lot about him. The Korn Ferry Tour season last year was pretty good, and he drives it well, which is always valuable. I doubt he has played this event. No, so if that's the question, Salinda or Matt Kuchar, it's Salinda for me. Hey, Rick, love your insights. Can we look at Lucas Glover? In your model from yesterday, he was pretty high. He was. Let's talk about Lucas Glover, because the putter for the glove is always going to be the thing that allows him to have good finishes or bad finishes. Oh, wow. This is very interesting. Okay. So great putter since the start of 2025. Just really, really good. Don't like to see that he's lost strokes on approach in 3 out of the last 4. Do not like to see that he has lost strokes in 6 straight rounds on approach. That is very uncharacteristic for him. See what he's done at this event before. God, he plays it every year, doesn't he? He's played it like 20 times. All over. A lot of different results. Mostly good. I will say mostly good. Okay, listen, I will say Glover's like a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe a 7 out of 10. Historically, if he strikes it like he has at this event in the past and like he has for the majority of his career, it puts him in a really good spot. I'm really impressed with the way that he's putted in 2025. I'm not happy that he's lost strokes on approach, the best part of his game, in 6 straight rounds. He's cheap enough to take a flyer, though. $7,800 for a guy with a lot of upside and a lot of experience and a good course fit, I think is fair. When building lineups, how much importance do you put on salary structure? Very little. So I assume you're saying like, I got to have one guy in the 10, one guy in the 9, some very, very little, if none. Usually just let the custom model generate. I also open up the settings so that it can generate me lineups that are as cheap as $40,000, right? Like I will leave money on the table. I don't care where they're coming from. It doesn't matter to me. So I think based on what you're asking, very little. Let's do the Patrick Rodgers conversation, because he's probably in one of the better stretches of his career right now. 2025 has been a very solid start for him. The thing that has really allowed him to set himself apart is he's giving himself a lot of chances in the ball striking categories, right? Like +8 in Mexico, He didn't hit it. He was relying on the short game at Torrey Pines, but short game at Torrey Pines is a lot more valuable, but he drove it very, very well. So what he needs to do is he needs to drive it like he has in 2025 here this week, and then basically be a slightly above average second shot player. And I think he'll be just fine. Has he played here before? I'm sure he has, right? He's probably played here a ton. Not a lot of great results. Don't love that. But he usually putts well here. Yeah. 6 out of 10, probably like him a little bit less than Lucas Glover. Thoughts on playing defending champions? Is Ekro being overlooked? So I don't care if they're defending champion or not. I think what it tells us is this is obviously a good place for him. It is obviously a place that he's going to have a lot of good vibes at. Unfortunately, since his most recent win, Worldwide Technologies, he's been bad. The ball striking, which was one of the really best parts of his game, from his win last year to the win at the WWT, is gone. The short game is miserable, which if you're trying to get up and down for par in some of these spots, like that's very scary. So I just wish he was playing better. I don't care that he's the defending champion or not. It's just not a good profile for what we're seeing. Who are some good first round leader options? Let's go to strokes gained distribution. Last 45 rounds. Everybody in this field with a minimum of 20 outside of the senior tour rounds. Oh, look at these guys. Okay. Golfers who gain 5 or more strokes to the field. Oh, Novak could be interesting. I'll look up him in a second. Grazerman could be interesting. He putts it so well. I'm trying to see if there's anybody who's like the best course fit on here. Novak does have good course history. That's why I was going to pull him up. I guess Henley. I mean, you're not going to get a good number on Henley, but I think it's a pretty darn good spot for him. So here's Novak's profile, and you'll see the tee to green play has been solid. He finishes third at Torrey Pines once, then finishes T13 there. In between, he goes T13 at Pebble Beach. So this is one of the weaker fields that he's been in quite some time, probably since the American Express. Putter's really hot again, which is nice. We just need him to go out there and play as he has played here in the past. T9, where he gained across the board last year. He's made the cut in 3 in a row. Or excuse me, 3 out of 4. I'm trying to look for some of these high upside rounds. You're going to need to gain like 5 or 6 strokes to the field. He did it there. Spyglass Hill, 5.2 on Friday. Did it here on Saturday at Torrey, gained 5.8. Like that's the stuff that you're going to need to do. 6.4 on Saturday in Bermuda. That's the stuff that you're going to need to do. It does look like he's capable of doing it. Andrew Novak might be a pretty good first round leader. I like Johnny Vegas and Lee Hodges this week. Do you have a preference? Ooh. I think Hodges, I can think of Hodges' profile off the top of my head. Let me go look and see what Johnny Vegas has been up to. Pretty vintage Johnny Vegas, although not really. Usually it's just unbelievable tee to green numbers and great ball striking, and then the short game, it costs him everything. He has not been good in 2025. A miscut in T24s. This is a golf course that he's been average at. I think without even showing you the Lee Hodges profile, almost certainly more interested in Hodges than I am Vegas. I feel like Hodges has played a lot better golf as of late, and he has. Yeah, I mean, just hasn't missed a cut since the Shriners. Bunch of good results at T9 at Farmers was his bet. Yeah, this is I think Hodges significantly more than Vegas. T9, T14 in 2 of his last 3 trips. Yeah, this is it. Okay, I'm glad you asked this because we'll do Grazerman. Grazerman is such kind of an enigma. He's got like this unbelievable game, great driver, great putter, but he needs them both because the rest of his game is not very good. I wanted to see what he had done here previously. T47. I think max for this week, I'm trying to think. Bay Hill might be pretty good for him. I assume he's in that field. Maybe I shouldn't assume that. He just, there's so much danger here on second shots that I really do worry about him finding the water a lot. I think he is a high risk, high reward option. Are we hopping back in on Taylor Moore? I think that's fair. He hasn't done really anything to change my opinion on him. I know he finished, T34 last week. I think he was one of those guys that made the cut on the number and then had a really good weekend. T9 and yeah, I mean, this is a really good profile, right? I hate the way that he's hitting his second shots, but the rest of his game is very good. Short game's been awesome. Driver's been awesome. Yeah, he's got 3 of the 4 facets going for this week. It's still probably Smalley over Novak for me. Smalley is, I think, probably mispriced. I think he's $7,900 if I remember that correctly. Yes. Ton of upside, ton of well-rounded golf, ton of skill. I think he's genuinely underpriced. Any love for Michael Kim and Matt McCarty? Michael Kim he has improved his game by a tangible amount in 2025. Was always a very good long iron player. He has started to button up some of the shorter irons. He has really put improvements with the lab putter in the bag. It has immediately improved his putting. The work that he's done with Joe Mayo has immediately been reflected around the green. That's not uncommon, right? When these guys get let and like they're able to put it in play right away. So it's probably Michael Kim much more than Matt McCarty for this week. But that's just because I'm kind of projecting out. Michael Kim's been bad here. Although if you click a lot of tournaments for Michael Kim in his career, you're going to see a lot of missed cuts because he has missed a ton of cuts in his career. I think we are easily in the best golf of his career right now. How important is course history? I think Nikolai Højgaard fits, but he missed the cut in his only appearance. Side question: do you collect anything from the places you play, pencils, markers, etc.? Yeah, so I don't think you can see it right now because it's laying on the floor. My second one, it's right there-ish. There. That holds pencils. There's also a thing on the wall over there that holds all the pencils. So pencils I collect because they're easy, free, easy to travel with, all that stuff. I do also like to get the bag tags, but really only like the ceramic ones. If they have those, I like to get those, but not every course has them. I don't really care about the course history. Definitely a bonus to have it, but if your only start is a miscut and it was from 3 years ago, I don't care. Højgaard, if you look at the power rankings, is one of the hottest players in this field, especially from tee to green. If you look at the last, I have 45 rounds in there. You go back to the last 36 rounds, he is right here. He's the 12th best player in this field over the last 36. He's 7,400. Almost all of that is coming from tee to green and in the ball striking categories. I will tell you, I've bet him to finish inside the top 10. That's kind of where I'm at on him. I think he's a very good option, and he's showing us that he is in good form right now. How would you rank Bud Cauley, CT Pan, Sam Ryder? Probably Cauley, Ryder, Pan would be the order. Could you do a model? Sure, let's do it. Custom model, rickrungood.com. Doesn't say how many rounds, I don't think, so I'll leave it at 36. This is Chris's model. We're going to go 25 on total driving. We're going to go 25 on approaches from 175 to 200. We are going to go 25 on course history, PGA National, and 25 on whatever I like. Ooh, what do I like? Should I be corny and do like the weighted strokes gain total and just like do what I think we should do? All right, this is Chris's model with a touch of my input. Shane Lowry, Austin Eckroat, Kurt Kitayama, Minwoo Lee, Cam Young, Sepp Straka, Benyon, Keith Mitchell, Johnny Vegas, Taylor Pendrith. Good luck. What is one golfer you are picking on in the matchup market? I don't have my phone near me. No, it's okay because I don't want to. When I bring the phone over, it gives you that static and stuff. I will, if I remember Tanner, I'll circle back at the end. One and done pick this week: Berger, Minwoo, Denny, or Kurt. So we've already talked a little bit about. We've talked about Berger. We talked about Denny. Minwoo is an electric factory, high upside, low floor. Can I just do the Kurt Kitayama thing real quick? He's like $2,000 cheaper than he was last week. He is kind of just as likely to win. The putter has been the only thing holding him back, and now he gets to go on flat Bermuda grass greens that he picked up 5.5 strokes putting on the last time he played them. If you look at almost every metric, if you run a lot of models, if you look at, this is by far the best surface for him. If you look at guys that are about to bounce back, there's just a lot of statistical momentum on Kurt Kitayama. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Kurt, and we'll see what happens. Sad to see the first cut go. This is actually how I found you years ago. Will you try to do content with Greg? Enjoyed your banter. Listen to the early edge. Like the reunion with Sia. Yeah, listen, there's a lot going on right now. I don't know. You know, there were also a couple questions of like Oliver has one here too. It says, you know, would you consider having Greg, Kyle, and Mark on as a guest on Rick Run Good? Maybe. You know, I don't know how well received that would be. I think a scenario would be that the first cut just finds another home outside of CBS. I don't know how likely that is. I don't know if I would be involved, but I think that is not an unlikely scenario. I don't think that's like there's a lot of sentiment around us continuing to do that. Like maybe the first cut comes to Rick Run Good. That could be a possibility. Maybe I try to buy the rights from CBS Sports and just run it separate. I think that is a non-zero chance. I don't know how likely any of them are, but it's possible, I guess. Will you be doing any weekly articles for CBS Sportsline or just hopping on their shows every once in a while? I don't like to write, so I don't plan on doing anything. The only thing I do is my newsletter. I enjoy that a lot. It's kind of snippety. I get to be fun and creative. I don't want to get into a situation where I have to write things every week and submit them to an editor. And just like, that is not my vibe. It is not my style. I do not care to do that. It does not excite me. So the plan for now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm on the early wedge, and everything else is Rick Run Good as usual. Here's, I think, the big question. So we are now 26 minutes into this. We've talked about Lowry, Berger, Straka, Minwoo, Denny, and we haven't talked about the guy who is the betting favorite, who's the most expensive golfer on the slate, the guy who is named Russell Henley. Why is that? Is it because he's not driving it well? I don't know. That's kind of why I'm a little bit nervous. If you look at his results here, so he won this event in 2014. That's a long time ago. I get it. But he's made every cut here in his last 6. And of those, 2 of them are top 8 finishes. Another 2 are top 25 finishes. He's been very good here. On paper, this is a great golf course for him because he's accurate off the tee, he is deadly on approach, and he fills it up on the greens. Like, I love all of that. What I hate is the way that he's driven it. We are losing multiple strokes off the tee for Russell Henley in a lot of his recent starts. That is a problem. If he is a +1 off the tee, he might win this golf tournament. So it's a very clear path for him to the top, and we took nearly a half an hour to talk about him. We did not talk to him. First of all, go Birds. That's right, Ryan. Can you believe it? So, okay, I might have said this before, but like, I was good after 2017. I understand winning Super Bowls and winning championships in team sports is very, very difficult. You might, if you're lucky, like the odds are you're going to do it once every 30 years. If you're lucky, you get it more often than that. If you're unlucky, you don't get it in your lifetime. I was good for a while. Like that was going to hold me over for 30 years. So this is all just gravy now, right? Like I'm this is all just gravy. Is there a way to tell if a guy's performance prefers Thursday morning? Okay. So which wave? The probably easiest way to do this right now on rickrungood.com would be go to the Holy Grail. I think it's underneath stats. This is an official PGA Tour stat, I believe. So if you go under scoring, I believe it is called, it's called early and late scoring average. It's not perfect because scoring average isn't the greatest thing in the world, but this is the early is the first wave, and late would be the second wave. So for example, the best early scorers, Harry Hall, Michael Kim, Kurt Kitayama, Chandler Phillips. The best, where's late? Late scorers, Novak, Ben Griffin, Max Grazerman, Davis Thompson, etc. So there is a way. That's the way to do it. Have you binged all of Full Swing today? No, I'm only like 20 minutes in, quite honestly. That's what I will be doing after this. So cleared the schedule, maybe an episode or 2 of Severance tonight. That got my wife's attention. But no, that's the plan for after this. I've seen 20 minutes of the first episode. I'm on like Neil Shipley being introduced, basically. Can we get a deep dive on Ricky Castillo? Former Gator put a few balls in the water off the tee last week, which makes me worried, but his approach play has been solid. Sure. Let's do Ricky Castillo. Not to be confused with Henry, not to be confused with Ron, who are also in the database. Not to be confused with that sweet shark tooth necklace. Wow. That's sharp. All right. Ricky. I'm uninspired. Is that not fair? He's never played here before. His Korn Ferry Tour season last year was very good to start the year, and he did not do much from April on. He had a runner-up in August, but not really much else. And then I see a guy whose short game stinks, whose putter could lose him 4 or gain him 2. And like you said, Sage has a penchant for finding agua. So probably going to pass. Can you do a deep dive on Carl Villa, specifically his stats on Bermuda? I doubt we have his stats on Bermuda, right? He's played 1 PGA Tour event. So if we have the shot link data, we're not going to have it. So I wish I could, but he made the cut last week. He lost 4 strokes off the tee, lost 4 strokes around the green. The good news is he's probably not going to do that every week, because if he's going to do that every week, he wouldn't have his tour card. So he's obviously got to clean some stuff up here. I will wait and see, but at any sign of life from those 2 categories, Carl, because the opposite is true, right? The approach and the putting is the high upside stuff, but you can't be -4. You've got to be like 0, 0, and then those 2. So at any sign of cleaning those 2 things up, we are just full throttle Carl Phillips. Good afternoon, Rick. Who is the producer's play of the week? She is my wife. Her name is Armina. She is the producer, and she has told me, she's actually sitting at a different angle today, so I'm not looking over my shoulder. She's actually here more of like a 230. She has told me Ryan Gerard. Is that correct? She's shaking her head yes. And then she went like, Rye guy, Rye G, like she said like a bunch of weird stuff. Rye G is what she said. A lot of weird stuff after that. I've seen quite a few people discuss Joel Damon. What's a deep dive on him look like? So if you follow along, I don't usually play Joel Damon. I'm not like a huge investor of Joel Damon. That has never burned me. Okay. I've gotten away with that. I think this is a good week for him. We are getting back to him being accurate off the tee, not long, accurate off the tee, solid second shots, and suitable in the short game categories. Still kind of stinks around the green. Them softening this golf course a little bit, making it play a little bit easier, I think helps Joel Damon. I would make the case that the 2 places that he's got the top 10s at in the last 3 starts, Torrey Pines and Vedanta World, are 2 courses that are not good for him, and that this is probably better on paper for him than both of those. So yeah, I think I'm ready to have a little tickle on Joel Damon. $7,000 is very cheap. This one just says, "Hey Jake, what's up?" Okay. Can we do a deep dive on Ben On? Sure. Not Andy Bean. Hold on. Ben Byung-hyun. Okay. Good course history here, if I remember correctly. If you look at the Holy Grail, go to Course Horses, sort this for everybody dating back to 2017, at least 8 rounds, and make sure that we have PGA National selected. I believe Benny On is yes, right here. 18 rounds, 1.74 strokes gained per round. It's one of the best. Oh boy, Ben. Oh, Ben. No, Ben. No. It doesn't have to be like this. This is not good. Approach play in 2025. 0 positive weeks, has lost at least a stroke every single week. That alone could be a hard stop, I think. Putter is vintage Ben On, and I do not mean that positively. Multiple strokes down there. Around the green, maybe that'll save him. No, it will not. I'm going to say recent form trumping course history here. This is some really miserable play coming in, and it's not like him. So unfortunately, not good. Deep dive on Frankie Sappin as a cheap play. I thought he was going to just snap off last week. getting a little bit closer, made the cut last week, but we've got some stat problems, guys. This is not the guy who dominated the Corn Ferry. This is not the PGA Tour's Rookie of the Year, like I have already declared him. Can't lose 7.5 strokes off the tee in 2 rounds. Cannot lose 5 in 4. Can't lose on approach every single week. Can't be expected to gain 9 with the putter to simply offset your tee to green losses. This is not good. Something has to change. We're going to need him to clean this up. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to call Frankie and I'm going to say, I need a little space. Okay. Well, it's not you, it's me. We'll see you soon. Who plays the bear trap the best? I can pull this for you, but it would take me like 15 minutes. I'm not going to make everybody sit through that. Answered some of these, which is good. Minwoo versus Ben On is pretty clearly Minwoo, in my opinion. Minwoo's got his own problems, but he doesn't have as many problems as Ben On does. Ben On's got like 3 problems. Minwoo's got 1 problem. It's a big problem, but it's only one of them. I think it's definitely Mini here. Is Seamus Power flying under the radar? Well, who knows? Let's find out. Can I make the case for Seamus? Very good approach numbers in the last 3. I like to see that. 2 top 25s, all 3 are top 36s or better. That's fine. I could argue that a change of putting surface is good for him, but I think I'd be speaking out of turn a bit, considering he's lost strokes putting here in his career and he's never made the cut. But he hasn't played here since 2019. I definitely do not think he's flying under the radar because I don't think he's like a great play by any stretch. I think he is like a 4 out of 10, where he needs to putt like he did in the fall, which I guess is not a big ask, but he also has not played well here, but it's also been 7 years. 4 out of 10. Definitely not flying under the radar. This guy has been smooth. Why not just go to DK, put a healthy wager on JJ Spawn? Top 30 outright. Top 30 and outright are contradicting. Are they not? Well, let's see how smooth old JJ Spawn dang. I haven't been very smooth. Good tee to green numbers. I don't like the off the tee stuff. He continues to hit his second shots well. I'm all cool with that. Let's look at his history around here. Yeah. Listen, you can put a sizable wager on. I will probably not. No, Vincent, don't make me do this. Don't make me do the Cameron Young thing where I have to try to argue that he is some god amongst men or what. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's so far from what got him to be. Wasn't he the PGA Tour Rookie of the Year? Was he the same year that Eric Cole was? I can never remember that. I think he won the Rookie of the Year. He has not gained strokes on approach since the Wyndham. And I'm not talking about small losses. I'm talking about massive losses. The other thing is, when he first came on tour, he was a bomber with touch. He drove it so well and he could putt. Where's that? Was that Ollie's stomach? Oh my God. I just heard Ollie's stomach growl. Oh, he sighed. I'm 12 feet away from that dog. He's sleeping on his side. I thought I heard his stomach growl. He just sighed. Like, what is bothering this dog? He lives the life. Oh my gosh. Cam Young was the 2022 Rookie of the Year. So I hate to admit it, but I've been using Grok. I've never actually said that word out loud, I don't think. For my latest betting inquiries. It's surprisingly in-depth and has a few golfers that it liked. Bud Cauley do anything for you this week? So Bud Cauley has played better than I thought. He's got like a handful of top 25s, I think. Yeah. So last 4. The problem is this is over the course of nearly 5 months. In 2025, he has a T30 and a T21 in which he has gained strokes from tee to green. No, it's good stuff. It's very good. It's just a small sample size. His history around here, the last couple of trips has been good, but it's 2024, 2020, 2019. I do not think it is anything special. I think Grok is like, I don't think he's uncovered anything amazing. I think it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, that's Twitter's AI. For me, it's Gerard, but Roy's not a bad play. But Ken says, is it Gerard or Roy? I think that Brian Campbell, if Brian Campbell finishes inside the top 20 this week, I will. No, I shouldn't say anything like that. I just would find it very hard to believe he has success this week. He wasn't having success coming in. He had a very narrow path to victory in which he found. And now his life has just changed. Also, didn't he withdraw from this event? Or am I thinking of Aldrich Potgieter? I guess he's still in $7,200. I would be stunned if Brian Campbell did anything. Do you have any anecdotes from the DFS Open? Oh, God. Oh, boy. I don't know. We should do it again. Yeah, it was actually, I remember flying back was the first time I saw somebody wearing a mask. And I was like, wow. I was like, this might become a thing. It was like literally, and then it was like 2 days later, like global shutdowns. No, I just remember it's always very interesting when you meet people in person that you've only known from the internet. And then you spend lots of time with them and you learn about them, some very good, some very bad. I think some people I came away with a much better impression of, and some people I came away with a much worse impression of. I don't know if I have any anecdotes. I don't know. Somebody should do it again though. Aaron Wise is back in Argentina. He is. Yes. I think he still has more than 20 starts on a medical. What's your career low out on the links? 72. Sup, Mina? Damn. That's Drew. Drew's trying. All right. Let me show you a couple things from South Africa. Normal statement. All right. So I'm going to go to the custom model here, flip this over to South Africa. The South Africa Open Championship. There are a couple of guys that I think, I've got the same model thrown up here. That's okay. All right. First off, we're going to look at Dean Burmeister. We are going to look at, where is Jaden Schapper, who also might be listed as Jaden Trey Schapper in some scenarios. Let's start there. These are the two that I think are most interesting. So Mean Dean is a live golfer. His first two starts in live golf have been splendid. Love the tee to green play. +10 in Riyadh, +5 in Adelaide. Yes, live golf does have strokes gained. I don't know why there is some idea that they are not doing strokes. They have strokes gained from like every single event in their history, and I have it for them. So here's a really good ad for rickrungood.com. Dean Burmeister has played on live, on the DP World Tour, on the Asian Tour, and when the strokes gained have been measured, I've got them. So crazy stuff here. But Mean Dean's great. His history at this event, so they changed golf courses at this event a couple of years ago. So he played well when it was at Gary Player CC, but they're going back to this Blair Atoll Golf and Equestrian Estate, which sounds just splendid if I do say so myself. T5, and he is your defending champion. Jaden Schapper is small sample, starting to play a lot better. Love the metrics from Qatar. Well-rounded. Yes, he putted his brains out, but it was well-rounded. And then he finished fourth in Kenya. I believe this is the first time in his career we've got back-to-back top 10 finishes. That's not true, but first time since 2023. I think we run with this. Does moving the show to Tuesday affect the projected ownership numbers, or are you pretty confident even with it a day early? They're definitely going to change. I would say it is always better to wait. Have you ever been to Jupiter, Florida? I went to, no, we don't go to Florida that much. I was in Florida recently for, what the hell was I in Florida for? I flew into Jacksonville. Oh, that year I went to the RSM, which I guess was 2 years ago. I think that's the most recent. I don't think I've been to Jupiter. I would love to spend like 2 weeks in Florida and play like 30 rounds of golf. I don't know if Mina's going to be up for that, but that would be my, she said she'll do it. We heard it here first. When making your golf picks oh my God. When making your golf picks, this Florida swing, do you consider Florida residents as a factor? No, not really. But I do consider guys that play well in Florida. Hold on a second. I'm teasing something. I've never shown this before, but because we're doing this on Tuesday, this is the behind the scenes of the newsletter that I'm going to send out tomorrow. So normally I would have already delivered this to your inboxes. But what I did is I ran everybody in this field since 2019, minimum of 20 rounds in the state of Florida. Not all Florida golf is the same. Think Innisbrook, but a lot of it is. A lot of bunkers, a lot of water, mostly flat, mostly Bermuda, right? So this includes everything. So if you're like, how does Mark Hubbard have a win? You idiot. That's a Korn Ferry Tour win, you dumbo. So that's in there as well. But Shane Lowry, Sung J M, Chris Kirk, Russell Henley, the 4 golfers gaining at least a stroke per round in their Florida careers. I care more about this, Kent, than I do where they live. These guys play golf all over the globe. I don't particularly care where they live. If you're not signed up for this newsletter, rickrungood.com/newsletter, or there's a link in the description, or I'm going to pat myself on the back here. See this pending advertisement offer? I declined all of these for you guys. I have turned down, I'm just going to pat myself. I've turned down tens of thousands of dollars, maybe not that much, maybe $10,000 to keep this thing ad free. Maybe more than that, maybe more. I'm really going to pat myself on the back there, but I think it's so corny to do that. I don't know. I mean, I think I should, but I don't think I should. Where is Corey Connors? Good question. Can't decide on Bo Hostler or Seamus Power for my last spot in. We did the Seamus Power conversation. Let's do the Bo Hostler conversation. God, I feel like these headshots are getting more and more high def. I did get a new monitor. Maybe that's what I'm seeing, but they look really good. Let's look at Bo's history here. Pretty good, Bo. 4 made cuts. T28, T16, T60, T38. The stat profile is kind of all over the place for those 4 years. Coming in, yeah, this is pretty, on brand. Good short game. The ball striking is questionable at times. Did he pop up on that Bo? No. Yeah, I'd probably go Bo over Seamus. I don't think I love either of them. Okay. Vincent asked about Davis Thompson, another guy who just won, who we are not giving nearly the credit to. The dude gains strokes off the tee every single event. He gave us a breadcrumb at Torrey of picking up strokes on approach for the first time in 7 weeks. He's priced at 8,900, which is kind of an awkward amount. I think DT is like super live this week. I think he's super live. Will Fleetwood ever get a win on the PGA Tour? Yes. With all due respect, Rick, your wife is gorgeous.
That's not my burner.
Is this your burner? And she supports everything you do. She does. Honestly, I don't know why. No, she is sweeter than she is beautiful, and she is very supportive. You didn't seem sold on your Monday model. I just don't think I was sold on the results of it. But that's kind of a me problem. Let me load this up. That's fine. So let's talk about this. So what the things that I weren't sold on were, I guess it would be 5, 6, and 9, which would be Sung Jae, Lucas Glover, and Mac Meisner. So I mean, we can just look into that real quick. So I'm very uncomfortable with Sung Jae. This is probably the worst golf he's played in his career. High bar, but it definitely is. Losing strokes on 4 or more strokes on approach in 4 of his last 5 is heinous. Okay. It is unbelievable to say that about Sung J M. That is incredibly concerning to me. The other thing, I probably convinced myself on Lucas Glover. We did Lucas Glover deep dive. I'm fine with that. The Mac Meisner stuff, why was he popping up? Well, we did weighted strokes gain total where he is 36. He's very good in bogey avoidance. Yeah, he's just like very above. He's just above average in all the categories that I put in there. I wish he drove it better. Does he have history here? Does he have history here? T53. I mean, look, he's got great tee to green numbers. Maybe I should not have been upset by this. 2025 has been okay. He played better in 2024, drove it better in 2024, but the rest of his game's been fine. That's the only thing that really I wasn't concerned. It's not that I wasn't sold on what the inputs were. Wasn't really sold on what the outputs were. Last night on Early Wedge, Mike was saying that at 7,700, he thought Luke Clanton. Are there any other players you think are a steal this week, considering their play in this tournament before or debut? Let me go back here. Get you to the cheat sheet. Let's look through this together. I think that I know you guys are going to just throw tomatoes at my head here, but Kirk Kitayama was $2,000 more expensive last week. What happened last week that he is not $9,500 this week? That's crazy to me. Alex Smalley being $7,900, kind of crazy to me. I think he should be more expensive than that. Nico Højgaard, I think should be more expensive. He's $74. Those would be the ones that stand out to me if I'm understanding that question correctly. Thoughts on Jake Knapp? Yeah. So let's talk about Jake Knapp. We've spent a lot of oxygen on Jake Knapp over the course of the last month or so I won't rehash the whole thing, but in general, he's starting to play a lot better. I love the fact that I don't love the fact that he like barely made the cut last week and actually got lucky to make it. I love the way he played on the weekend. So if I actually let's do this real quick. Go to the showdown cheat sheet from last week. So this gets updated, every round. This is still last week's. So if we just look at the last two rounds, Jake Knapp here. Jake Knapp was the fourth best player in the field last week. Gained 5 strokes over the last 2 rounds. You can see the only guys that were better. By the way, Joel Damon was sick on the weekend. If we get rid of, I'm very cherry picking now, but if we get rid of that bad Friday, Jake Knapp was like the third best player in the field. Now I know that you can't do that and I'm cherry picking it, but just to show you, I think there's still a lot of upside here. And obviously his history is very good. T4 at this event last year. If you were on the PGA Tour, would you use Mina as your caddy? That way, when you pay out your caddy, you're basically paying yourself. No. First off, I don't think she would want to do it. Second of all, she was my caddy one time. I was like, listen, so I played Marco Simone on Monday after the Ryder Cup. I got in the lottery and won the lottery. I had a push cart. So all she had to do was walk along and like do nothing, but they let you bring a caddy. She lasted 9 holes, maybe. She's back. She did a great job. But she was like, I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I'm going inside. I'm bye. And I was like, you're like walking on one of the greatest golf courses in the world the day after the Ryder Cup. It was really hot though. It was really, really hot. PGA's stats had Potgieter 0.24 strokes better than Data Golf off the tee after round 1. How does that happen? That seems like a lot. I can't speak for either the PGA nor for Data Golf, but I believe Data Golf makes some adjustment to theirs. I couldn't tell you what that adjustment is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, but the PGA would be the raw stuff. I believe there are some types of calculations there, but again, I can't speak to that. Do you think TGL benefits or hurts players' games before coming back to real golf? I don't think it matters. Am I crazy for liking Matteo Manacero? That dude's been around a long time. Let's look at him. 6,800. Oh, boy. What do you like about him? What do you like about him, David? The reason he loses strokes off the tee, though, is because he's pretty short, right? It's not because he's inaccurate. He's 39th in accuracy. He's 187th in distance, which is good because if he was inaccurate here, that would be a problem. But it doesn't really matter because every course in the world, and I'm not exaggerating, he's losing strokes off the tee, which is already putting him at such a disadvantage. You can even see his 2 starts here, which are both very good, 29th and 12th from a decade ago, from a dozen years ago, seriously, 2013, 2014. He lost strokes off the tee, and he had to be perfect everywhere else. Not for me. Burger all the way. Let's go. Who's the most accurate golfer in this field? There's a lot of ways to look at that, believe it or not. But let's just say last 36 rounds, everybody in this field, Justin Hicks, then Lucas Glover, Max McGreevy, Ben Coles, etc. Yeah, listen, the wow, the 2-inch Bermuda or the 3-inch Bermuda, I don't think that's the end of the world. I agree with you, the fairways are narrow, but the water is the problem. If you look at the actual numbers, like my opinion is not in this at all. There is basically an even distribution of holes that are better to be long and inaccurate than to be accurate and short. It's close, but there are an even number of holes. And you see them here on my list. So I think you need to kind of have a little bit of both. You can't be wild. And you definitely can't be short and wild. You could be long and slightly wild, but ideally you'd be long and straight. That hurt my brain thinking about it. What's the story behind you getting onto CBS? The story is I've been building the data website for 10 years. I've been doing it full time for 6 plus. The way that I got the word out, so to speak, about the data website was to make YouTube videos. So that's been going on for 10 years. And CBS found me through YouTube, reached out, asked me if I would be interested in getting involved with some of their podcasting that they were trying to ramp up, to come on and be an analyst for golf on the streaming network. It was a hit right away, that relationship. It had just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. How do these guys get rid of the hat line tan? Or do they just look ridiculous all the time? Mostly that one. Yeah. Seb Straka is very aware. He takes the hat off after every shot. That's one way to do it. Practice without the hat on. Really, these guys only wear the hat. So many of these guys practice without hats on. They only wear the hat because they're getting paid that moolah, baby. You ever notice when they go to the Ryder Cup, like half of them don't wear hats? Yeah. Thank you kindly. Thanks, Pebble. Appreciate it. Let's see. Can we see the top putters on Bermuda? Yeah, of course we can. So go to the Holy Grail. Go to strokes gained by tournament. How far back do you want to go? 2020? Might be too long. I don't know. It's just kind of my default. Go down here. Click on Bermuda grass. Could also add this one in. Tiff Eagle Bermuda, just a different variation. Close this up. Best putters on Bermuda with, let's call it 30 rounds of a sample. Taylor Montgomery, Jacob Bridgman, Ben Griffin, Brendan Todd, Denny, Max Grazerman, Harry Hall, Mackenzie Hughes, etc. Not clear on Novak, Kim, Hodges, Henley. You talked about them, but really weren't conclusive. Sorry if this is a repeat, just can't decipher. Well, I guess it depends on the format, right? I mean, Henley's clearly the best player in that list. Henley, Novak, Kim, and Hodges. Henley is clearly the best player. I'm a little bit concerned. So it probably takes him from a 9 out of 10 to a 8.1. Michael Kim has been bad here, but I love the way he's playing right now. So it probably takes him from like a 6 to a 7.1. Lee Hodges, I think, is a solid 7. Novak, I think, is a high upside first round leader showdown play. I hope that helps. I hope that makes it. I like Lowry. I've not bet Lowry. I've made 2 bets. I'll just tell you who they are. Do not bet who I bet. Don't do it. I think I already told you I bet Nico top 10. I bet Daniel Berger at 22 to 1. 22 to 1. I bet Kurt Kitayama at 40 to 1. I told you I was going to do that on Monday. I did it. And that's it. No. Hamil says, Rick the GOAT, you missed my request for a Brian Campbell deep dive last week. No. Did you really? I don't know. Are you messing with me or did you really do that? I guess I got to take you seriously now. So he says, can we get one from Matt Wallace this week? Sure. If Matt Wallace wins, we're going to change the name to Hamil Runs Good. Hamil Run Good. Here's Matt Wallace. I bet you what you're looking at here. Oh, maybe not. He's missed 3 out of his 5 cuts here. The other 2 are a T20 and a T29. Leading in, he's not driving it particularly well. He's lost strokes off the tee in 4 out of his last 5. Putter's still a problem. He went to that. I think he went to that double thumb grip at some point. It does not look like it's working for him. I'm not very excited about that. Starting full swing later. Can you give a spoiler if you make an appearance? I don't know. Hand to heart, I don't know. I had some spots in 1 and 2, but this is, from my understanding, a new production company, same production company, but new production company, right? So I think previously the first 2 seasons were Vox, but Chad Mumm left Vox and started Pro Shop Inc., which I believe is what this is under. So like the stuff that I did in previous seasons mostly went through some rep at Vox. I don't know if they've grabbed anything that I've said and put it in full swing. We're all going to find out together. I don't know. So 1 year I re-recorded lines because the quality wasn't as good, and 1 year I didn't. So it is conceivable that I am in there and I have no idea about it. Okay. The good news is I've answered, if I'm reading these correctly, like every single one of these. Top 400 out of 4,500. Who would you pick in 1 and done? Sepp Straka. I mean, you could flip a coin between Straka and Berger, but Straka. Am I crazy for wanting to use Ricky? Probably, dude. I think he's cooked, Jaron. Why do you want to use him? Because he's back in Florida, and like there's this idea that, I mean, yeah, like when he was playing good golf, he played great here. He's been bad for 5 or 6 years, and the results here have been bad for 5 or 6 years. I just don't know what the path is. I don't. It's not good. I did, John. Were you in Florida for? I was not. Who wins the NASCAR race on Sunday? Can I name a single NASCAR racer? I'm assuming Jeff Gordon does not exist anymore. Well, I'm assuming he exists. I'm assuming he doesn't race anymore. I don't think Dale Earnhardt Jr. races anymore. There is that one. I know there is someone, because it popped up on that trivia league I'm in, who has won. I think he's won like their Cup Series a lot recently. I think his colors are blue. I'm not thinking of Jimmy Johnson. I think he's probably retired as well. Luke. Oh, God. I keep thinking Luke Guthrie, but that's the guy who used to pitch for a million different teams. Chase Elliott? If he's racing on Sunday, he wins. I have no idea. You are the GOAT for keeping this ad free. I appreciate it. Yes, I have this data column, but it would take me, like, again, I'd have to go into the system and pull. It says last time a player was dead last on the in tour and driving distance and won. I would have to go and pull that. Who are you avoiding 10K and up? Now, like, I'll just, speak generally because, if I make a lot of lineups, I'm probably going to have everybody, but I'm hyper concerned about Sung J M. I am hyper concerned about Cameron Young. I am probably not going to have much Jordan Spieth, although I at least like the unknown nature of it. I will probably not have much of Austin Eckroat. I will probably not have much of Russell Henley, and it's not a knock against Henley. It's kind of just a start in the 9K range and make a lot of lineups that way. Do you know if ESPN Plus will have another betting show like they did for the Waste Management? My understanding is, yes, they've committed to 6 or 8 of them, I believe. The next one is at probably the Players. What's the deal with Wyatt Worthington? Played in the APGA, just had their event at TPC Sawgrass at the Dyes Valley course. Struggled a little bit on the first round, played a lot better in the second round. I think he finished inside the top 10 out of 54, I think there were. Just, the 2-round thing is so hard. It seems like he's the best player in the field one of the rounds. And it's just like, if they played 4 rounds, I swear he'd win them all. But it's hard. It's really hard. I've answered a lot of these, which is nice. Will Rick do round by round podcast Thursday through Sunday? No, I will not. The early wedge will have a Friday show. With that, I'll be on. So I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Friday over there. Aha. Yes. I like Pendrith in this spot. How did I do in the latest trivia? Well, I didn't win it. I'll tell you that. Let's see what my standing was. What my standing was. Where I was 5-2-1. So I finished. Here's where I finished. I almost got promoted, but I stayed here in the second level. I was 5-2-1. I didn't get relegated. So I think I'm staying here in this division. That might be one of my better. Yeah, 4th. Well, I finished first in my division 2 fortnights ago. I finished 4th a lot. 4th. 11th. Let's see my stats while I'm here. Baseball and country club. Yeah. I'm not very good at soccer. 15% of the soccer questions, right? Yikes. If you want to get in this, I can refer you. I don't get anything for it except Shane Ryan tells me I'm a nice guy and he's nice to me when I see him at golf tournaments. Otherwise, I don't get any money or anything, but I can refer you if you want. I will actually, what I'll do is you can email me, but I'll just put the link in the description, or I'll put it in the chat right now if you want to join. The next one probably starts in a couple weeks. So there. There was one other thing I wanted to do before I got out of here. I wanted to look at this NASCAR stuff. So, what is it under? Racing? Where does it even show up on DraftKings Sportsbook? Well, A to Z Sports. There's no such thing as racing. Motorsports. NASCAR Cup races. Is this week the Texas Grand Prix? Is that this week? Chase Elliott's 11-1. It's like the 6th favorite. That's a lock. Lock of the century. Okay. Anything else non-golf related that I can look up while we're here? I'll give you a trivia question. Let's do it. I'll give you a sample trivia question from Apocalypse Sports Trivia. My favorite thing. All right, let's do. How do I find the questions? Here we go. Dashboard. Oh, I think I have to go to my profile. No. Clearly, I'm very, very good at this. Stand by. I'm gonna get there. Everybody's gonna be good. We're gonna get there. We're already over time. We're gonna be fine. All right. Answer history. Okay. Select a category. I'll give you a country club one. Does it give me the answer somewhere? Oh, okay. Well, this one you guys should get. Karsten Solheim, an engineer at General Electric, began making putters in 1959 in his garage. Center of the blade in order to redistribute weight to the heel and toe and create a bigger, more forgiving sweet spot. What I can't say that word. Onomatopoeic, an onomatopoeia, whatever that word is. But for what onomatopoeia name did he give to his putters and later to his company? Think about that. You guys should get that. What about, let's do a non-country club. There you go. D-Fresh got it. There you go. You guys know. It's ping. Ping. Okay. What about, that one's too easy, right? No. These are all too good. Okay. That'll do it. I think Armina is still here, and I think she is going to be able to finish this podcast. I appreciate the time. Appreciate it. All the links you need are in the description. Go sign up for the stuff that you want to sign up for. Otherwise, be good. See you guys soon.